Hey, I used to think that one more rental was going to fix everything for me. But the truth is, one more rental damn near wrecked my retirement. And today I'm going to explain to you how that happened. And I'm going to walk you through the exact steps that I'm using to rebuild my entire wealth plan after real estate started draining more money, more time, and more joy than it ever gave me. So if you're in your 50s or your 60s and you're tired of spreadsheets, line of credit anxieties, and repairs blowing up on you all the time, this is the video I wish somebody would have made for me years ago. So give me the next few minutes and I'm going to hand you the roadmap that's giving me the lift that real estate stopped giving me a long time ago. And if you're new here, you don't know me, hey, my name's Harry. I'm a grandpa and a pilot from the prairies in Canada. And I'm a guy who once believed that real estate was going to be the golden ticket for my retirement. And for 20 years, that worked, right up until it didn't. See, nobody talks about what happens when real estate flips from being an asset to just becoming a full-time job with a bunch of surprise bills. But if you've ever sat at your kitchen table with a cold cup of coffee, a scratch pad, and a calculator, staring at a bunch of numbers thinking, I did everything right, why doesn't this feel safe? Believe me, I've been there. And today I'm going to show you exactly how I rebuilt my wealth plan step by step when that old formula stopped working. Because what I talked about sitting at the kitchen table, hey, I will never forget the moment that I realized that the math wasn't working for me anymore. Because I was in exactly that place. Just finished doing a bunch of repairs on one of my rentals, $45,000 for a new boiler, not to mention a full reno with drywall repairs, flooring, paint. And that was after a good tenant moved out. And that was just 1 month. By the end of the next month, another property needed a roof. Then one of my apartment buildings had a flood on 2 floors over a weekend. And the trades always love coming out to fix a property on a weekend, right? Meanwhile, my line of credit, always maxed out. And to pay it down, I had to sell a property a year just to stay afloat. And at that pace, I started realizing that I was going to end up 80 with no properties left, no retirement, no nothing. And that was the first time it really started sinking in that, you know, I'm not broke, but I am sure a long ways from being free. And that realization changed a lot of things for me. And in a minute here, I'm going to walk you through the exact blueprint that I'm using to fix that. But first, I need to show you the real problem that most folks never see coming. Because here's the truth that nobody says out loud. Real estate doesn't fail you because you mismanaged it. Real estate fails because the math changed. All of my costs are up. Cash flow's down. Interest rates are all over the map. Insurance is a lot more for a lot less coverage. Repairs skyrocketing. Trades are charging weekend premiums for everything. And that's before you even talk about tenant turnover. And I'm talking about good tenants, let alone the bad ones. But even deeper than that, the real estate trap is this. Real estate steals that one thing that you can't get back, and that's your time. And nobody warns you about that. Repairs come in the middle of vacations. Emergencies will mess up a family weekend in a heartbeat. Tenant issues take over your evenings and your weekends. And renovations will wipe out your cash flow, sometimes for months. So when folks ask me, Harry, why'd you get out of real estate? I tell them the truth. I wanted a life, not a maintenance schedule. But the next question is the important one. What did you do instead? Because that's where everything changed. See, the first thing I had to do was admit the system that I was working on, my real estate, was dead. You can't fix a sinking ship if you're still pretending that ship floats. And what that meant for me, I had to stop hoping that the next real estate project was going to save me. I had to stop assuming appreciation was going to bail me out because for the most part it didn't. And I also had to stop pretending that cash flow was going to magically improve. I had to get brutally honest with myself. Real estate was not going to be my freedom plan anymore. It was just a slow leak. And once I admitted that truth, I opened that door for change. And I'm going to show you exactly where I redirected my time and my efforts in step 3. But first of all, here was step 2. I sat down with a pen and a piece of paper and I wrote down 2 numbers. First of all, how much time was I losing with my real estate business? And the second number was how much money I was pouring into repairs, bills, turnover in real estate. Now, honestly, seeing those numbers on paper was a little bit embarrassing, but it was necessary because I just had to lay out how many weekends have these rental properties stolen from me? How much time had they really cost me? How many renovations projects pushed me into debt that I wouldn't get back? How many times have I waited for rent to cover the bills, only to have something blow up and a bunch of unexpected bills take my cash flow for another 3 months? That was my wake-up call. And here's my step 3, where everything flipped for me. I replaced passive income hoping with passive income building. And this is where I discovered what I call my digital real estate. I was searching for options that didn't have the stress of a real estate business. And believe me, I didn't want hype. Certainly didn't want crypto. I didn't want a bunch more tenants, and I really didn't want any more buildings. I wanted one thing. I wanted a simple asset that I could build once that didn't fall apart every quarter. And my digital real estate and the e-learning industry gave me that. No tenants, no trades, no 2 a.m. emergencies, and forget about the $8,000 roofs or line of credit acrobatics. It's just where everything changed. And I'm going to show you the exact kind of digital asset that I built coming up here. And what changed was I started with what I already had. I had my experiences, I had my stories, I had my lessons learned. You see, you don't need a bunch of tech skills. You need clarity. You can teach what you know, simple e-learning guides, small workshops. Or number 2, you can offer a product or a service that you didn't create under an affiliate or a master resale rights option. Or number 3, you can create a community. I'm creating a community right now for aviation lovers. And you build it once and you refine it as you go. And it pays you while you're off living your life, chasing your passions. And then you turn that into your freedom engine using a proven blueprint. And this is where everything clicked for me, because the system gave me a roadmap. It gave me a structure, and it certainly gave me a community. And it gave me a ton of ways to avoid the $27,000 worth of mistakes I made with so-called previous opportunities. And they showed me a way to get started with just 2 focused hours a day. And this wasn't a gimmick. It was a model that people of yours and my vintage are crushing it with right now, because they have something that makes them relatable to folks. They have real life experiences. And when you combine your experiences with a real solid system, that's when you get freedom income. And that's what took me from being owned by my rentals to owning my time again. I stopped having to sell a piece of real estate just to stay afloat. I started building a digital asset that can pay me while I'm off flying or traveling, helping out the grandkids, whatever I want to do. And this is the same path that you get to choose if you want it. Will it work for you? Hey, I don't know. But if you want to see the blueprint that I followed, the one that's helping me rebuild my entire retirement plan without more tenants, toilets, or trades, just drop down to the description, grab your copy of my Freedom Formula Blueprint. It's free, it's simple, it's about a 5-minute read, and it'll show you exactly how to get started building your own digital real estate in the e-learning industry. So if this is starting to hit home for you, hey, check out the next video in the series where I break down that one real estate moment that finally forced me to change, and why the e-learning industry was the path I chose to follow. Because at this stage of our lives, hey, it's not about working harder, it's about living better. So once again, hey, I'm Harry, and I'll see you on the next video.